something blocking the vibes. Yes, something just blocking the vibes. Why?
For the first time, the Warao community of San Fernando and Siparia will be presenting the Indigenous Festival 2024. An excellent way, of course, to learn more about your history. And joining us in studio is Shaman Raul Simon, the spiritual head of the Warao community of San Fernando, and Rochelle Luna Antwine, interim secretary of the Warao community in San Fernando. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
And thank you so much for having us, well, being with us. You're telling me welcome, so I'm saying thank you so much for having us. But thank you for being here with us.
Yes,
I can only imagine what the preparations are like for your inaugural festival. And it's a pleasure. And Shaman, we would like to start with you particularly. Can you give us some history to the Warao community and your role as well?
Right, the Warao community of San Fernando and Siparia have been functioning around 6,000 years. But in the past, we are presenting it back to the future so that people understand where we came from and where we're planning to go. Spiritually, the hill, which is sacred for us, San Fernando Hill, which is Nabarima Hill, and in the island of Chiledi, which is Trinidad and Tobago, right? We have been performing the fire ceremony every new moon for the last 15 years. So we want to continue in that vein so that people understand what we represent. And we do exist, as some people feel that we don't exist anymore, but that is not true. We are actually here, and this is a way of getting the public to understand what we are and what our plans are. So this festival was introduced to me by the ancestors, and it was supposed to be since 2018, but COVID came and destroyed that whole plan. So we revitalized and we're moving forward with it now.
Excellent. This is amazing to see. And, you know, everything happens in the time that it's supposed to, of course, so you've had ample time for preparation.
The space and time and date coincides with a festival that has taken place hundreds of years ago.
And what is this festival?
Renouncing the status of the Warao people, what we really represent on the space. And according to the ancestral time, now is the right time for it. So we're just following instructions.
There we go.
From the ancestors.
Beautiful, following the instructions. So my question to you, Rochelle, was going to be why now, but we just learned why now. So let's talk about this inaugural festival. How long is it going to be running for, and what can we look forward to?
It's going to be running for 1 week, and you can look forward to a host of different activities, namely educational workshops on local herbs and traditional medicines, the Warao language, art, craft, music and dance workshops, also history, Indigenous history. We have an Indigenous book launch. One of the main features of the festival is an Indigenous art exhibition featuring top local artist Neruki Ato Sei, and a host of other Indigenous artists as well. We have a live concert featuring a few somewhat known and some well-known artists, yes, myself, Luna, and Abby Blackman, and she'll also be displaying some of her craft items. So we have booths that will be set up with items for sale. We'll have a couple books for sale as well. One of them was written by Shaman Raul, and the other one was co-written by himself and author and environmentalist Katrina Khan Roberts. So there are lots of things that are going to be happening. We will even be having a fire ceremony on Nabarima Hill on one of the days as well.
Okay, this is really interesting. In fact, something that I know would have piqued many people's attention was the mention of the language itself.
Yes.
And that means that, of course, we've had this preservation of language over the years, which is fantastic because it needs to be preserved. Go ahead.
Of course. Now, the thing about the cultural assimilation that Indigenous people went through over a number of years is that similar to other diaspora, you've had a loss of the things that define a culture. So it's interesting that the language itself has found a way to survive. And it's something that's going to be ongoing where, we will continue to do the language workshops and classes.
That's great, especially, of course, with the ongoing education and the fact that this is something that will continue to instill a sense of pride and understanding in self.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's get some contact information for those who are interested in participating. Are these workshops open or are they closed?
Of course.
It's
open to members of the public. We are also inviting schools to participate. And you can reach out to us at the the Warao Community of San Fernando Facebook page. We're on Instagram and TikTok as well. Our email address is nabarima.warao@gmail.com. And we have a contact number, 364-7979 and 295-6599. We also have room for assistance that we would welcome. So if there's anyone who would like to assist us in, to really see the entire project to completion the way we would want for it to happen, we are open to those possibilities as well.
Wonderful. Now, this is the inaugural Indigenous Festival, the beginning of many to come. Shaman, I'd like to come back to you briefly. Tell me the significance of the Warao community to you and why it's important that you continue to share and educate.
Well, first to begin, we are the first people that existed on this land. And it is so important to us to bring the public awareness of who we are and what we really represent here in this space and time. Spiritually, we go back to the ancestors for all the information in order to bring it forward to the public, to educate everyone about the knowledge and the spirituality that existed for thousands of years in a peaceful place, in a place where everything was one, everybody was one, everybody had one energy. And time and, how they say that, progress have destroyed a lot of our natural resources, and especially the forests. So we are culminating, and together with climate change, we have a program. I'm involved in the program. I'm a lecturer in some of the programs, which we will present to you soon, to make the place back, bring it back to what it was.
Yeah, bring it
thousands of years ago.
Bring it back to what it was.
And also, my book that I'm finished writing, and it will be launched in the festival, is a story about us, about me, through my lifetime.
Wonderful.
Into the next part of my journey.
Well, we look forward to reading and learning a lot more about the community and, of course, about you as well. Rochelle, before we close, if you could share with us very briefly, as the younger generation, of course, how would you say being a member of the community has impacted your development?
Well, honestly, I've gone through quite a few years wondering who I am. What am I meant to do while I'm in this life? And I noticed that a lot of people didn't pay much attention to their roots, especially when it came to Indigenous heritage. So it means a lot to me now to get really involved in the community and help to inspire others. And it's actually already begun. A lot of people, since we have been advertising this festival, have reached out to us, and they're really curious and want to know more, so we are happy to provide a space for that to happen.
And we're happy to have both of you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you.
And continue to do the great work, and looking forward to hearing the positive things that come out of this festival.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You don't want to miss it. The Warao community of San Fernando and Siparia present their first Indigenous festival happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. You can contact them at 364-7979 or 295-6999 for more information. Stay tuned. This is Now Morning Show. We'll be back after this break.